Hey Ron, how are you? Hold on a minute, I forgot to start Streamlabs. Hold on. Give me 1 second to log in. I'm slacking, I'm slacking. What the hell is going on here? Hold on a minute. That was weird. Okay, you should be okay now. Nothing is weird? No, on my side. Hi, Barry0666, how are you? Or 66? Wow, totally screwed that up, sorry. I'll be there in a few minutes. I'm setting everything up, getting everything going. Hey, DP, how are ya? I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? Good to hear. Good to hear that you're doing okay. Let's see, making sure I got everything. All right. Where am I going? Where am I going? Okay, Restreambot is working. That's a good sign. All right. There we go. There we go. I think we got it. All right, everything is sent out. Hope everything, or I hope everything. Jeez, it's gonna be one of these days, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Midnight Paranormal, how are you? What's going on? Doing good, good. I like hearing that. I like hearing that. Okay, guys, is hey Blue, how you doing? How you doing? Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Maybe. There we go. Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody's doing good. So today we are going to be talking about the Matrix. Dun dun dun. What do you guys feel about the Matrix? Are we living in a Matrix? Don't mind me. I'm in one of those states where I'm cold but I'm hot. You know what I mean? No, I don't have a fever or anything like that. So, what do you guys think? Do you think we're living in a matrix? And maybe at the end, I'll tell you my theory, what I think is going on. Or I can tell you that now. It doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and talk about this. This is why if we are living in a matrix, I have a theory of like, why? Okay? And it's not the first time I've heard this. Like, I didn't make it up. I kind of resonate with it. So most of you know that I've had a near-death experience. I've traveled and had an out-of-body experience. All different situations, all different times. Um, so when it comes to the Matrix, and I told you guys that my near-death experience and my astral travel was kind of feeling the same way, right? Like, um, in a way of where you are all knowing, all loving, that type of situation. And mind you, this happened years apart from each other. Um, so my take on it, my theory on the thing of why there's a matrix is because when we do pass on, we're all knowing. We know what's going on. You know, we've been taught that since we were little, right? That we will know everything when we pass on, right? And that's how it felt. And my theory of why we have a matrix, why we come down to earth. Hey, little red. I hear that. Um, is that because it's boring. It's boring knowing everything. It's boring to only have the emotion of love, right? So that's just my take on it. I'm not saying it's written in stone, and I might change my theory in later years. You don't know. I don't know. But right now, that's how I feel with having a near death experience and the astral travel. Well, yeah, I mean, but when you feel this is when you pass on, you're all, you know, you're all knowing and all loving. I mean, was it great to not have to worry if the dog was taken out or, the little mundane things that we worry about as humans? I'm not talking about this life. My life is never boring. I'm talking about the afterlife. Why I feel that and this is again just my theory of why we made the Matrix, if there is a Matrix. if that makes sense. We don't have any other emotion but love. I'm when it comes to the virus, I believe that we're all it's I believe I already had it last year. Um, but that's just my theory on it. Right. So let's go ahead and get into 15 unsettling signs that we're actually living in. Actually, I'm going to do this one first. 15 irrefutable signs that we might be living in a matrix. Let's go ahead and pull that up. If I get to the right screen. Wrong one. There we go. So, 15 irrefutable signs that we are living in a matrix. Um, I'll go ahead and start with, are we like Neo living in a matrix? Like computer simulation of reality created by more advanced possible post human beings? Hey, Ghost Hunter Jim, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking Matrix today. Almost certainly, at least according follow to the following evidence. Okay. One of the reasons they think we're living in a matrix is because of the Mandela effect. Nice, Jim. Hey, Southern Belle, how you doing? Some people claim to remember TV coverage of Nelson Mandela's death in the 1980s, even though he actually died in 2013. The Mandela effect is therefore supposedly proof that whatever is in charge of our simulation is changing the past. Or, alternatively, this evidence of a parallel universes and some individuals have crossed from one universe in which Mandela died in the 80s to ours, which he lived to be age 95. Good to hear, Southern Belle. Welcome, welcome. Um, in additional examples, we all know the Mandela effect. You know, of course, Berenstein Bears, how it was spelled. Um, People remember the 1990s of a movie called Shazam, starring Sinbad as the genie. You know, yeah, exactly, Little Red. It was creepy. She said, "This girl, Elizabeth Renee." I'm like holding up what that's my name, right? Yeah, she looks like me, but died a while back. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, there's certain things that, you know, come into play that we're like, what the hell? How is that even possible? You know, with the Mandela effect, that's like I said, you heard me about my stories. Well, most of you have about my Fruit Loops incident, which happened. It flip flopped in 1 year. You know, my husband bought Fruit Loops for us. It was spelled with the FROOT loops. And then the next time, I thought he brought a different brand or they changed the name. It was spelled with the normal fruit. And then it went, now it's back to Fruit Loops with the double O. So it's crazy. You know, it's crazy that I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell's going on here? Number two in this article is missing aliens. Poor little E.T. I love that movie. Anyway, we spent billions sending probes throughout outer space and should probably have found evidence of extraterrestrials by now, right? Not so fast. Aliens would likely be more technologically advanced than we are, as the thinking goes. So the fact that we haven't located them suggests we live in a simulation that they've figured out how to escape from. Or maybe the computer we're on we're in only has enough RAM to simulate one planetary civilization at a time. Now, what do you guys think about that? See, I think my theory on aliens and everything, whether it be regular aliens, I don't know what you want to call them, um, any type of aliens, even like guardian angels, spirit guides, they're all us. That's my theory on it. That they're all us, just higher levels of us. That's why my guardian angels or my spirit guides are smartasses because they're me and I'm a smartass. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just my take on it. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it until something else changes my mind or resonates with me, I should say. Electrons that can't make up their mind. Now do you guys know about the double slit experiment? Right? Well, that's what that's what I read, Jim, was that this whole coronavirus is a test. Look how mad we're going now. So if they expose that there's aliens now, we're failing the test, man. We're failing the test because we're going nuts over toilet paper. So, right? Yeah. So, do any of you guys know about the double split or double slit experiment? If not, that's okay because I have a video for us to share. It's only a 5-minute video, but and it's cartoony. The reason I did that because that's what I have to watch. Right, midnight? Right? We're done at that point. We screwed ourselves. In physics, famous double slit experiment, electrons are fired at photosensitive screen through slits in a copper plate, usually producing an interference pattern that indicate wave-like behavior. But when the same experiment is conducted under observation, the electrons behave like particles, not waves, and there's no interference pattern. Some have taken this to mean our simulation is conserving its resources and rendering certain things only when it knows we're looking at them. So, I know, Ron, you can't toilet paper houses, nothing. I swear. It's messed up. Um, so what that means is it kind of goes along with the theory of um, you're looking at a dead cat in a box, okay? Well, an alive cat in the box, right? You close the lid. Is it dead until you open it back up? I know I explained that very wrong. Right, I seen that on Facebook too. People are like, "You can come TP my house." Um, so, kind of like the whole thing of when a tree falls in the rainforest and nobody there, does it still make a sound? That type of thing. And here, I'll go ahead and play this video. And like I said, it's cartoony, but it'll explain it a lot more. And it's only 5 minutes long. So bear with me.
Study of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So, they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never-world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Pretty wild, right? So that's the double slit theory. Or not theory, but it's proven. So they think that's what's going on with our world, the Matrix. They think that's what's, if we look and see, okay, I look this way, I see a window and a wall. If I look this way, it's not there anymore. It's just my mind knowing it's there, if that makes sense. Because I'm not observing it, it's not really there. Yeah, it is interesting, Jim. It really is. And that's one of the theories of, or one of the things that people think why we're living in a matrix. The next one is DNA that contains a computer virus. In 2017, a multidisciplinary group of researchers at the University of Washington proved that they can embed malicious computer code into a physical strand of DNA. Messed up, right? Their aim was to show that computers working in gene sequence were vulnerable to attacks, but they may also have inadvertently revealed that what we perceive to be biological reality is in fact computer coding all along. Yeah, I liked it. Even though it was cartoonish, I love that the explanation of it. I think it's a really awesome little video. um, so yeah, they can put a computer virus in our DNA. How weird is that? And then you think about it. Why are our colds and flus and everything, bronchitis, all that, called viruses? Makes you think, you know? Climate change, how convenient. Our civilization just coincidentally set up on the cusp of an environmental chaos, suggesting we could be an ancestor simulation created in hopes that we'd show our creators how to solve energy crisis. This theory overlaps slightly with the alien as simulation quitters theory above. If we found an innovative solution to climate crisis, extraterrestrial beings might return to the crib result to crib the results. Wow, really, Missy? So yeah, they think we're simulated into this program to fix our climate, which we're doing such a bang up job of that. Number 6, video games that look like real life. Elon Musk is a believer of Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis, which posts that if humanity can survive long enough to create technology capable of running convincing simulations of reality, it will create many such simulations and therefore will there will be lots of simulated realities and only one base reality, which they're doing now, right? Did you guys see that video of the lady who was basically hanging out with her deceased daughter? You know what I mean? That can mind fuck some people. So statistically, it's probably more likely that we live in a simulation right now. Further proof that we live in a matrix, according to Musk, is how cool video games are these days. In 2016, he explained 40 years ago we had Pong, right? Why is Nightbot coming on now? Oh my god. We had Pong, two rectangles and a dot. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D with 3 million playing simulation simultaneously. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the game will become indistinguishable from reality, even if the rate of advancement drops at $1,000 from what it is now. It's a given that we're clearly on a trajectory that we're going to have games that are indistinguishable from reality. It would seem to follow that the odds that they were a base reality is 1 in a billion. And yeah, so I mean, our video games have come a long way, a very long way, from Pong. That's scary. I remember playing Pong and thinking it was awesome. So yeah, that's another reason they're saying we live in a matrix world. Weird news. Some have proposed that recent unlikelihoods, including Donald Trump's election, Brexit, the 2017 Oscar envelope mix up, and that year's 25-point Super Bowl comeback could mean that we're in a malfunctioning simulation, or whoever is pushing the buttons is just screwing with us. So are these glitches? Is it people screwing with us, ourselves screwing with us? It's crazy. It's weird. Lot to think about. Quirks with computer code. Seemingly not crazy theoretical physicist James Gates claimed he has identified what appears to be an actual computer code embedded in the equations of string theory that describe the fundamental particles of our universe. He says he found error correcting codes that they were that they're what make web browsers work. So why, man, it's like my brain is trying to make me not say this stuff. I swear to God. So why were they in the equation I was studying about quarks and electrons and supersystems? Do I want flowers on my teepee? Hey, Oracles and Beyond, how are you? How are you? Number 9 is, why does our universe have rules in the first place? I'll take flowers on my teepee. Good, good to hear you're doing good. Oh, you were asking Little Red. Apparently, Little Red's more special. Sorry. Just kidding, Ron. um, so why does our universe have rules in the first place? MAT cosmetologist, yeah, cosmologist Max Tegmark has pointed out that our universe's strict laws of physics is possible evidence that we live in a video game. If I were a character in a computer game, I would also discover eventually that the rules seem completely rigid and mathematical. In this theory, the speed of light, the fastest rate of which any particle can travel, represents speed limit for transmitting information within the network of our simulation. So yeah, I mean, we do have rules in the universe that we can't break, right? I don't know, just a lot to think about. Number 10, it's not actually possible to prove we're not living in a simulation. It may be easier to prove that we're living in a simulation than prove we're not. Nuclear physicist Zohar Duvauti, and I'm sure I butchered that name, believes that cosmic rays, the most energetic particles known to man, would appear as pixel like chunks if we were within a simulation, and unending beams if we were in a base reality. Meanwhile, NYU philosopher David Chalmers doubts it's possible to prove that we don't live in a matrix. You're not going to get proof that we are not in a simulation because any evidence we get could be simulated. Okay, Ron, that sounds good. That works. That works. This is my biggest thing. This next one, the Goldilocks zone. Earth exists within the astrobiologists call a Goldilocks zone, close enough to a star that greenhouse gases can trap heat to keep liquid water, but far enough away that the plant does not become a hothouse. That we live in such an orbital sweet spot is circumstantial evidence for a stimulation. If our sim designers wanted us to succeed, it would make sense that they placed us in such a cushy environment. Think about it. We are, if the Earth was just a little bit farther from the sun, we'd be a frozen tundra. But if it was a little bit closer to the sun, we'd all be burnt up. I mean, yeah, exactly. A hot greenhouse. So, how is it that we're the only ones that are in this perfect Goldilocks zone? I thought this was interesting, this next one. It makes more sense than ghosts. Paranormal events are not hauntings or alien encounters, but glitches in the simulation. This theory is one of the most explored on Reddit forums like Are We Living in a Simulation? Or Reddit Glitch in the Matrix, which users explore big ideas and philosophy funneled into the details of the odd or the occult. A storefront exists in a town one day, then it doesn't. Explanations explanations include a slip between parallel timelines or a pop-up. A car passenger sees the word render in the sky as if it was entering a new part of a video game. Elevators are frequently settings for glitch stories, and the jump between floors seems to encourage a slip within the dimensions. What do you guys think about that? Since most of us are into ghost hunting and paranormal activities and stuff, what do you guys think about that? I mean, to sit there and really think about it, is this why we'll probably never get the proof? I mean, we do have proof. You know what I mean? Um, but are we catching things that because of the glitches? And of course, they're talking about twins. I'm sure you guys have all seen these, you know, different things that are slightly off from the others. I mean, stuff like this happens, and it's odd, if you ask me. Like this cat. Is this cat in another? You know what I mean? It's just in another. Kind of, and it kind of goes with when my husband came in. I think most of you guys were in here when he saw that guy's leg twitch walking down the street, and it didn't bother him. Like if your leg twitches like that, the way this guy he saw this guy's leg, the guy would have fell, but he just walked if it was normal, and it twitched like you know what I mean before he took the step. So I mean, stuff like that. It's just it makes you think. But I thought it was interesting that they brought up the paranormal of how it could be just different glitches in the Matrix. We already know exactly, Ron. Exactly. That's kind of like the stories of the Bermuda Triangle, the Alaskan Triangle. You know that like hey Terry, how you doing, hon? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like the what was the plane's name in Alaska? I just watched the Alaska Triangle. I should know this. But where the transmission, where the plane disappeared, they couldn't find anything, any explosion or evidence that the plane went down. They didn't find any survivors. They didn't find any crash site. But yet, a week later, they got a transmission from this plane. How is that possible? But yeah, Ron says it could happen anywhere. There was a story of a guy disappeared in his field. At times you can hear the guy calling out, but he's not there. Exactly. You know, it's crazy. Little things like that. Are they glitches? What do you guys think they are? Do you have a theory of what they are? What's happening when things are they going in other dimensions or other parallel universe or is are we living in a matrix and they're just got boop taken up like their game is over? I remember having a dream. It was like a month. Anytime that I read stuff and that definitely could be subconscious info just leaking into my brain. Um, but anytime I read stuff like this, I'll have weird dreams, right? And a couple of weeks ago, when I was reading and doing research on this and stuff, it was just like I had a dream where it was in the future and I was getting into like this pod like thing to get zapped, kind of like Star Trek, to wherever I needed to be. Either that or what's the Hogwarts, not the Hogwarts, but Harry Potter where they go in the chimney. Most times no body or materials from like planes. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, it was kind of like that. So, the weird thing is when I went in the pod and I got zapped to this other place, it was like a Star Trek starship, not like an alien star. It was a Star Trek place. I remember it feeling very weird, and I was like, kind of like had that deja vu feeling. That's a good theory, Terry. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Terry said, I think our world in another dimension cross over and has some freaky results, such as spirits. Beam me up. Yeah, right? Yeah, it's weird, you know what I mean? But I just remember that dream and going in that pod and getting transferred to a different place. And that was never Beam Me Up Scotty was never said in Star Trek. It's a Mandela effect. Yep. Even though um I forgot who played, he remembers saying it, but it was never in the scripts and it was never said on the show. So it says. um so number 13, we already know what the bricks of our matrix are. No, not William Shatner. Um the one who plays Scotty, he remembers hearing it, not saying it. There's supposedly a place in California and London that you go into like in an elevator and flash out on a moon base. I would love to go there. I would so check that out. I'd be scared as hell, but I'd do it. Although, well, I'll tell you what. You know what's weird about that? When I going into astral travel, that's what I feel like. I feel like I put myself in that effect where I feel like I'm going in an elevator. So it's funny that that was mentioned. Isn't that weird? That's how I put myself into astral travel. Although I've only done it once because it scares the hell out of me. But I've had those dizzy spells. That's what I used to call them since I was little. But that's exactly what it feels like that I'm going down in an elevator. And the one day that I did, no, I'm sorry, not my astral travel, my out of body experience. That's when I feel like, because when I had my out of body experience, I just felt I was laying in bed and I was just like, I just let the feeling go. Usually I stop it, but I let the feeling go. And that's when I looked down on myself, said, what the? And slammed back in my body. And it hurt. But it's weird. I wonder if there's a connection there. Right? Yeah, Terry. Exactly. Uh, that's funny. Fourth floor, women's apparel, sporting goods, and lunar moon base. I cannot talk today. I'm having the hardest time. Maybe because I'm so excited about talking about this. I don't know. 13, we already know the bricks of our matrix. According to simulation believers, we may have already found the pixel-sized building blocks of the universe. The Planck length, the point at which our concepts of gravity and space-time no longer apply. If our world is simulated, the Planck length would be equivalent to 1 bit of information, or pixel. Ron. We are already good at making simulations, and we're getting even better. In 2014, the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics connected 8,000 computers to create a 350 million light year simulation of our universe and digitally aged it over 13 billion years. That The Sims video game franchise has sold over 125 million copies in its first decade shows that we're interested in playing with simulations too, which I love The Sims. I don't know about you guys, but I love The Sims. Um, if and when a future version of humanity finds itself with the ability to create more realistic simulations, it wouldn't be a surprise if they opted to use it. The whole Yanny versus Laurel thing. Have you guys heard? Do you guys remember this? It was all over Facebook. There was a couple of them. Remember in 2015 when the world flipped out because we all looked at the same photo and some of us saw a blue dress while others saw a gold dress? Or the Yanny versus Laurel fiasco of 2018. There were also less explosive blue, gold, white flip flop debate in 2016. Say what you will about pitch and volume and color saturation, these controversies made one thing clear: each of us lives in our own world. No, really. What we perceive as reality is, in fact, partly a simulation created by our brains, which is true, using past experiences to help us process the fragments of data that we're receiving. To put it in another way, there is no spoon. So what they're talking about is each other, I mean, each of us seeing our own reality. So instead of, something that looks different to you but normal to me, isn't just like our eyes messed up or our hearing messed up. It's our brains recalling, kind of like pareidolia. Pareidolia. Oh my God, I can't speak today. Where that's why we see things in pictures or in shadows. We see that stuff because it's all coming from our brains of our past experiences. So that's another reason they're thinking that we live in a simulation. Now, I have other ones here. No, I don't want that. Get up there. Same reason that they were talking about before, video games demonstrating our ability to make simulations. Wow. Um, so again, like I said about that, right, exactly. We have our own interpretation of the world. You're exactly right. That means that we're living in our own little bubbles, basically. Um, but I told you about that video game where that lady was spending time with her deceased daughter. I mean, that's kind of messed up. I mean, it's beautiful in a way, but it's eerie in a way. I don't think. I mean, I'd love to hang out with my dad or my mom. Yeah, well, my mom I do all the time in my dreams, but with my dad, yeah, definitely. But who, who's to say that if that happens, I might not want to leave that world and I'll be walking around in a VR thing all the time. Right, Ron. Yeah, there are medical reasons, definitely. There's, you know what I mean? Definitely. I mean, some people need glasses and others don't. You know, you put curtains up in your bubble, right? But there's also it's the way our brains perceive things. It's kind of like that whole when like in the beginning when I first started this channel when we were talking about different theories of the paranormal and I brought up the cat theory where when a cat looks in the mirror it can't recognize itself. It don't recognize. It thinks it actually You've all seen a mirror when he's batting at the mirror because he thinks it's another cat. They don't recognize themselves. Okay? So who's to say we can recognize ourselves? Yes, of course. But other things we not might not perceive because our brain can't handle it, just like the cat's brain can't handle that that's them in the mirror. And I point that way because I have a mirror there. If that makes any sense. I wish I could articulate into words today what I'm thinking. So, um, art- arti- artificial intelligence is getting more and more advanced. And that's true. Us coming up with our artificial AIs, I'm scared of that. I'm really scared of that. Just our ability to create VR games shows that civilizations get better and better by creating simulations. Our ability to create AI showing that simulations get better and better at creating independent machines. What if the civilization that we came before us already created AI so sophisticated that machines took over the world? I'm really scared of that. And we're all serving as the power sources. Maybe it's like Bill and Morty, where in his battery there's a whole nother civilization. Right? Yeah, YouTube. I mean, shit. Math runs the world. Have you ever wondered why the same numbers just keep showing up in your math and science classes? Pi, the speed of light, Planck's constant, the gravitational consent, the list goes on. The fact that we continue to see the same numbers in equations governing how objects move around points to the conclusion that our universities may actually be a computer program. This is a bit a circular argument. We can't know for sure whether math equations run the universe because we were in a simulation or because that's how the universe actually works. Does energy always equal mass times the speed of light squared? Because someone designed it that way or because that's how things just worked out? We'll never know. Another thing is we can't observe things too closely. Microscopes have come a long way since they were first invented. We can observe the insides of cells and fertilized embryos in a petri dish thanks to microscopes. Electron microscopes allow us to actually observe atoms, but when we try to zoom in closer than that, everything looks fuzzy. We know that atoms are made up of small particles, but when we try to observe those small particles, we can't get a clear picture. How come? Astrophysicist George Smoot thinks that this is what happens when you look too closely at a computer screen. You just see a bunch of fuzzy pixels. It's possible that we don't have that technology to observe subatomic particles yet, but it's also possible that we can't get that close because we're in a computer program. Maybe that's why, I don't know. I just thought of a thing where it was like maybe that's why when ghosts show up like on webcams and stuff, they're pixelated. Some of them. Do you know what I mean? Maybe because we can't. Ron can't wait for the smaller woolly mammoth. That would be wild. Can you imagine like a little woolly mammoth like running around on your desk? That would be awesome. That would be so cool. But I mean, maybe I don't know why that thought popped into my head about the whole ghost and pixelation and that. I don't know. It's weird. Subatomic particles are governed by code. You would probably need a graduate degree in quantum physics to understand this theory, but here's a simpler version. Protons and neutrons are made up of smaller particles called quarks. According to researcher James Gate, the behavior of quarks is governed by certain rules, and those rules are very similar to the codes that run web browsers and search engines. By that logic, the rules governing the subatomic particle that make us up could actually be computer code. This observation doesn't necessarily mean that the computer codes came before subatomic codes, though, you know, we may be a bit of a chicken and the egg problem here, or the similarities could just be too coincidental. But if you ask me, this could be a greater problem that we'll never able to find the answer to. Their need for the melting tundra, right? Right, yeah, Terry. Much love, Midnight. Thank you so much for coming in, hon. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see. Like Terry, you did. Oh, spirits. Sometimes I think of that like a class project or unseen. Yeah. No, you don't have strange thoughts, Terry. I think about that stuff all the time. All the time. Just because with you weren't here when I was explaining about my near death experience. My theory of the whole thing is like our spirit guides, our guardian angels, they're higher forms of us, okay? And we are in like a simulation because, and the reason being is because when we pass on, we're all knowing. And I've learned this. Once through my near death experience and once through astral projection. So, like when I astral projected, I was astral projecting to the Akashic Records. And that's like the book of Peter, if you don't know, like, witchy verse. um, and what that when I finally got up to where I needed to be in the astral projection, I didn't even look at the book because I was all knowing at that point. So to me, and the only emotion I felt was love, like, you know what I mean, like a bliss, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. So my theory is because and I've heard other theories like this, that we are all knowing and in love, and it gets boring. So we wanted to feel other emotions. And that's why we came down here, if that makes sense. That's why we made this world, so we could feel other emotions. So hopefully that made sense. And it's like things like that resonate with me. So don't tell me, you have weird thoughts because I think we all do. We all want to know, you know? That's why I think when they say we pass on, we'll know everything because we do know everything. And it's kind of like I said, like my guardian angels, my spirit guides, whatever you want to call them, are smartasses. Well, of course they're smartasses. If it's a higher me, I'm a smartass. So I know how the little quirks to get me to pay attention, if that makes sense. The measurement problem. Here's with the whole cat theory. The measurement problem is a paradox in quantum physics that no one has been able to explain yet. The concept is pretty confusing, but a simplified version of this. Something can only be defined when it is observed. It's the issues of Schrodinger's cat. Until you open the box and look at the cat, it's both alive and dead at the same time. Some quantum physics think that the measurement problem and other paradoxes in quantum mechanics can be explained by the fact that we are actually living in a simulation. Just like a video game needs a conscious player, Schrodinger's cat needs a conscious observer. Other, on the other hand, just because we don't understand the measurement problem doesn't mean the solution that we're living in a simulation. The Big Bang doesn't add up. In the podcast Star Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson and theoretical physicist Brian Greene suggest that we are likely living in a simulation because the Big Bang. The explanation of how our universe formed doesn't mathematically make sense. Greene said we used to consider the Big Bang a singular event that gave rise to our universe, but the math shows that you don't use up all the fuel in one single bang. In fact, the bang itself winds up generating more of the fuel, which generates other bangs in other universes. Exactly, Terry. That's exactly it. We are all pieces of God. Yeah. Exactly. I totally agree with you, Terry. Definitely. We're all part of one. We are all consciously, or I don't know, consciously, but no, we're all connected. Think about it. If God was up there and created this whole thing, and because he was bored, it's just him. Why not create these other things? Well, he's got to create them from himself. So yeah, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in, that's like when I used to be Wiccan. Well, I can't say that I was ever Wiccan, but when I used to call upon the gods and goddesses, when people used to sit there, there was no other god, used to yell at me, there's no other god but God, right? And I had to explain to them that these gods and goddesses were different aspects of God. It kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing, only with us. We're different aspects of God or where we came from, the one creator. That's why we're all creating our own universes. We are the creator. Hey, Peta, how are you? Were you having a hard time with D Live? Was it screwing up? Maybe that's why last night, it cut me off. Not last night, but the night before. It cut my overnight stream off. I just woke up and was like, what the hell happened? So, yeah, the idea of multiple universes exist, and our universe could be a simulation created by the people of another universe. I mean, you could really, yeah, Ron, saying, I notice when I like am checking who's on YouTube and who's on D Live, like my D Live won't work if I have my YouTube up. It's weird. The idea that there are multiple universes, however, doesn't necessarily prove that ours is the one that's the simulation, if any of them are. I mean, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down when it comes to the Matrix, and definitely, some that really resonate with you, and some that are like. And here's that whole thing about the Goldilocks zone. We're really, really lucky to even exist. In elementary school astronomy, you learn that the Earth is just close enough to the sun to sustain life. If we are closer or further away, the planet would not be hospitable for life. This is not only this is not the only lucky circumstances that had to occur into life to exist. For example, if dark energy, the energy that exists in a vacuum of space, was even slightly stronger than it currently is, stars would not have been able to form. With no stars, there would be no planets, let alone hospitable planets. How the heck did we get so lucky so that the conditions of our universe are just so right that we humans could come into existence? One possible answer is that we didn't get lucky. Someone programmed the strength of dark matter and other variables necessary to sustain life into a computer system. Right. That's just one of I'm not stating that this is my theory. I mean, I sort of believe this. I think it's a combination of everything we think up. But I do go along with, I should say, I just don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. This resonates with me in some ways. Different dimensions, definitely with ghosts and shadow people. Like shadow people, I think are just, could be people having astral projection. It could be, there's a lot of things. You know what I mean? That's cool, Terry. Do you publish them online or anything? I just, I really strongly feel that what we're taught in school is not correct. You know what I mean? In certain aspects. I think there's a lot more to this universe that we don't know, and this is why we do these shows, different theories and different things. But I definitely believe, yeah, I'd love to read them too, definitely. Who knows who's right and who's wrong? Exactly. That's why I just put them out there because I like everybody to think about their own. You know what I mean? I love picking people's brains on how they think about things, and I don't know. That's why I do these shows, the What If Wednesday shows of different things that could be possibly going on. Conspiracy theories. Who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory? You know. There's a guy who can actually bend spoons. We all know we're about the same age, so we all know about Uri Geller. But it is not. It's an illusion, of course. But there are some people out there that say Uri Geller can bend spoons. Gotcha, gotcha. I can understand that. Yeah, exactly. It is really good to open your mind to new possibilities. Okay, PETA. No problem. That's so weird. I wonder if because just so many people are home and so many people are, there's like a big rush to go to D Live now, if that makes sense. So it's like overloading. They're trying to compensate for the new people coming in. That's hard to do. You don't realize, when things start to happen, it's like, holy crap. Mysterious disappearance happen all the time. This is what you were talking about, Ron. I love that. Bye bye. Author David Paulides had just spent his entire career compiling books full of cases of mysterious disappearances in which people seem to just vanish off the face of the earth. Paulides provides no concrete explanation for all the disappearances, but he makes it clear that he thinks there's something more going on than just coincidences. What if all these disappearances could be explained by the fact that they were living in a simulation? What if people who have vanished have figured out how to pick up a phone and get themselves out of the matrix? This is just one possible explanation among lots of bizarre explanations, such as alien abductions and portals to alternative dimensions. But it sure is interesting and making us scratch our heads for answers. But that's what you were talking about, right, Ron? Brain uploading is a thing. I honestly believe in brain getting uploads. I honestly, truly believe in getting uploads. Not maybe not like Neo did in the Matrix, but because that would hurt like hell. Um, but I do believe when we sleep, we are getting down. Well, not uploads, downloads. You know what I mean? The Matrix in the Matrix, the characters learn new skills simply by plugging themselves into the computer. Um, at the time that movie came out, this concept was pure science fiction, but a breakthrough in 2016 indicates that we may soon be it might soon be a scientific fact. Researchers in California figure out figured out a way to teach people to pilot a plane by transmitting a simulation to the participants via head caps with electrodes on them. Granted, it's not as simple as the movie, where Neo just learns kung fu via a computer program. The participants did not go from zero piloting knowledge to perfect knowledge just by using the head caps, but they did improve their piloting skills significantly more than ground control did, or more than the control group did. The results indicated that learning via brain upload may possibly or may be possible one day. Now, see, I believe in this. I believe that we get downloads all the time. I think that's where like they said, we have alien DNA in our system. The reason they call it alien DNA is because they don't know what it is and what it's for. Um, so, and I think little bits and pieces of how we're going with our life and like our career, even like our career and everything, like opens up that DNA a little bit, if that makes any sense. Or I could just be crazy and you guys are all like, what the hell's wrong with her? MIT's artificial neural fibers. In 2015, MIT figured out a way to send visual stimuli and drugs directly to the brain using artificial neural fibers. The researchers designed these neural fibers to study how the brain works. They can provide more detailed information on neural activity than previous brain mapping technologies. The researchers also hope to use the device to treat neurological disorders, which would be a huge discovery helping those with neurological disorders. These article neural fibers were not designated or designed, wow, for the purpose of implanting information directly into someone's brain, but they could conceivably be used for that purpose if needed. This is just more evidence that we're going on to get the point when learning about brain uploading is reality. One day, folks, one day. Well, that's the thing. You know what that reading that, you know what that reminded me of was that whole thing where you can talk really softly and they can shoot sound waves that go directly into your head. Now that's been developed. That's already been developed and that's what that reminded me of. Do you guys know about that? Have you seen that? Where they actually developed where you can people can talk softly and if they shoot this like point this um for lack of better terms like radar at you, radar gun at you and it can it sounds like somebody's talking to you via telepathy. They actually have that out. It's a real thing. And that's for some reason when I was reading that, that's what was coming into my mind. Oh, wow, Terry. First of all, I'm sorry to hear that you had a stroke that um but yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, like the voice of God. That's why they say it. Like people, how many people have like the government had this technology and making nuts, right? And like I told you before, this was one of the reasons I started this channel was because of all the people like say there is aliens, right? And the government's hid it from the truth. Look at how many people that swear to God they've seen or heard aliens and their lives have been ruined because they're nuts. Do you know what I mean? People have these reasons and these feelings for a reason. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off of how many people's lives they saw something. I'm not saying aliens are real. I have no clue. I have never met one. So, you know what I mean? But if there are, how many freaking lives have the government screwed? And, you know, wow, Terry, that's interesting. Maybe you have, and that's the thing, people that have had strokes or anything like that, you know what I mean? I think it's possible that they're like the veil is thinner for them, if that makes sense. So that possibly, Terry, that could be what it is too. But I can understand it waking you up. It'd probably startle you. I do that a lot too, though. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I don't know what it's called, but people have it all the time where, like, it's almost like we manifest it. Like, if I'm in the shower, I swear to God, every time I'm in the shower, I hear somebody knock at the door. There you go. If God can bowl and make thunder, then he can, play frisbee and make flying saucers. I like that. I really like that. Yeah, that's what I miss, though. I miss a good thunderstorm. We don't get them up here in Alaska once in a while. And it's weird. Thunder and lightning storms, like a good thunder and lightning storm, you know what I mean? Their thunder sounds their thunder like it's Alaskan people's thunder. The thunder up here sounds nothing like. I mean, it's a crackle here and there, and that's it. It's not a good. I want to go back home just to sit there and hear a good thunder and lightning storm. Sorry, I wandered off. The phenomenon of multiple personalities, and I didn't even think about this until I read this article. The psychological condition we call multiple personalities is officially named dissociative identity disorder, DID. Physiologists, physiologists, wow. Psychologists, wow. See, every time I read stuff like this, I don't know for sure what causes this condition. Some think that it's a side effect of traumatic experience at a young age, where others think it's not even a real condition, that it's all in their head. One possible explanation for DID comes from the Matrix. Remember how Agent Smith could take over other people's bodies? It's possible that people who suffer from the DID are really having their bodies kidnapped, so to speak, by agents. I mean, I didn't think really hard into this, but I have another theory about it. People with DID report that when an alternative personality takes over, they don't remember anything what happened. Well, that personality is in control. Perhaps they don't remember because their body was being temporarily held hostage. Hmm. Probably Dutch Harbor. There's a lot of Alaskan islands that you can only reach. But Dutch is the main one. Um, hey, Michael, how you doing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can get here by plane. You can get here by ferry. But ferries hardly run anymore. And in the road, yeah. It could be Dutch Harbor. That's one that's a big one. Um, But there are other ones, like people have to take planes. Like there's villages here. Well, people don't get, like the more north you go up through Alaska, there's villages, and they have to go grocery shopping by plane. I mean, that's what, there's nothing there, and nothing can be transported there. So they have to go take a plane to get groceries, which is weird, right? You see that a lot on Alaska State Troopers. But it's, yeah, it's definitely weird. So my theory of the whole multiple personalities thing wasn't from the fact that how you doing, Michael? I'm sorry. I did say hi, but how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. Um is more not that like agents or are taking over, but more of is it a glitch to where like their past lives are all combining into one? That's true too, Michael. Split personality could be the vessel is open, the entities take over. That's definitely, I knew a guy who had multiple personality disorder. And he was a nice guy. He was really cool until he'd start like, and the thing of it is was weird, and I don't know how true it is because I've only known one person with multiple personalities in my life. Um, but he was a big the government spying on me type person. You know what I mean? Like tinfoil hat type. Like, I mean, he truly believed it. It was like one of his personalities believed that. Seaplane, seaplane. Yeah, that's basically, yeah. That's all it is, Terry. But yeah, he that personality came out a lot though. But he was an awesome dude. He really was. I haven't talked to him in freaking years. I moved away and haven't spoken to him years. But he was. It is very interesting, Terry. But he, yeah, he was a really cool guy. I mean, really cool. I mean, you could sit there and have an awesome conversation like this with him. You know what I mean? And then he'd go in the house and hide out, and like tinfoil curtains would come down and stuff to keep all the bugs out, or the bugs from listening. Not bugs like flying insect bugs, them tapping into his stuff. So it's possible that somebody, I mean, if they can put that voice of God in your head, talk softly, and it's like transmitted right into your head, who's to say they can't do that with, and screw with people? Right, Ron? I mean, it makes me think about him even more so. Like, you know, I don't know. He was a really cool dude until he went in, because you never knew. Like, he could switch on a dime. You know what I mean? Um, that's what made people nervous, which I can understand. I was nervous, and I talk to everybody, you know, because that's me. I want to pick people's brains. Um, but yeah, he could switch on a dime, and and it's not that the other personality I've never seen, like, I don't know his whole line of personalities, like how many he had, but that one person, like, it was mean. Like, he thought everybody was against him, so which made it dangerous in a way, if that makes sense. We could have been having I mean, it's never happened to me, but you just knew to stay away from him when that personality came out. Feats of human strength, superhuman strengths. We all know about the mom who saves her kid underneath the car. In the Matrix, Neo learns that he's capable of superhuman strength and speed. This is until he figures out that the Matrix is just a video game that he can cheat at. In our universe, superhuman feats do happen. I'm not talking about weightlifters deadlifting 800 pounds after training their bodies for years. I'm talking about people suddenly being able to lift cars. In one example is Tom Broyle. When he saw a biker get run over by a car and get trapped underneath, he rushed over to help. Even though most he had ever deadlifted was 700 pounds, he was able to lift the car, which weighed 3,000 pounds, off the biker so the driver of the car could pull him free. Was Tom cheating the rules of the Matrix, like Trinity and Neo? Well, the scientific explanation for Tom's story is flight or flight response, which pumps adrenaline into your body, but that explanation doesn't rule the Matrix out of the question. Exactly, Terry, that's another one. People who hear voices, yes. Mind over matter, you're exactly right. Exactly, Ron. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. You just don't know when it comes to something like that. That's why I love to listen to everybody's story. That's why everybody's welcome here to discuss their beliefs, what they've heard, what they've seen. You know what I mean? Because I believe that really happened to that person. Do you know what I mean? Like I really believe that he had an experience that made him freak out like that, where everybody was against him. There was something there that made him feel that way. There's something that made somebody feel like there was a demon inside them. I mean, their experiences is real. And that's why I don't allow any bashing here when it comes to stuff like that. You might not have the same opinion, which is cool. Everybody's allowed their own opinion. But for somebody to experience something that dramatic and enough to where they have to talk about it, to me that's a real experience that they had. Whether you think it's real or not, I don't want to say it harshly, but doesn't matter because it happened to them. If that, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I hope that I don't sound like one. Exactly, Terry. Exactly. We were given a brain to ponder the unknown. That's why I always said, even being a witch, I always said, if there is somebody up there, and I'm not saying there is, I'm not saying there isn't because I have no clue. They know what's in my heart and they know that I try to be a good person every day. You know? And I think that's why people say that I'm so easy to talk to because I don't look at people badly for anything that they, have gone through. I never have, I never will. And honestly, all the experiences, um, what was I thinking about today? Something, an experience that I had, he might have known something. Hypnotize a person to a trigger word. Use the word of God to say trigger word. Boom, he's in. Yeah, exactly, Ron. That could definitely. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the government to do that or anyone to do that. Thank you, Terry. I always worry about that I come across wrong to people. Um, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. They hit that trigger word and we wouldn't hear it, but he would. You know what I mean? So that, yeah, definitely a possibility. It's not been unheard of. Our government has done far worse. So it doesn't put it past me. Did that make sense? It doesn't put it past me. I don't know. But see, it's like, oh, I know what I was thinking about when I was going through, and I hate the word awakening. I really do. But when I was starting to go through that, and I got so mad that I'm sick of living like this, blah, blah, blah type thing, because that's what happened to me. I kind of freaked out for a moment, And I was here. It was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago. One of the two. Anyway, hey, Vegas host girls, how you doing, hon? How you doing? Okay, Ron, I'll keep that in mind. But when I was out in the camper and I had my awakening, like I said, I really don't like that word. I don't know what else to use. But I freaked out a little bit, and I'm like, I'm sick of living like this, blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, this huge wave of like confidence came over me. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you would never catch me on YouTube. When my son and myself started talking about doing YouTube back like years ago, for video games and that, I said, well, if I have YouTube, I'm gonna have to send. I'm gonna do these videos. I'm going to have to send them to you to edit them and never watch them because I'll take them down. Because I never had the confidence. I always know what I was thinking and everything, but I'd never had the confidence to do YouTube. And all of a sudden, after I went through that whole situation, it's like maybe it's my age too. I just said I hit 45 and said, hey, I don't give a fuck what anybody says or thinks. Yeah, it just it gave me that boost of confidence. It said, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm gonna put it out there. Where did that? My whole life, I never been like that. I've been this person, but just without the confidence or you know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't explain that stuff like that. I can't explain. And the last one in this article is the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox asks the following question: if there are billions of Earth like planets in the universe that could sustain intelligent life, why haven't we heard from anyone else? Plenty of these planets are older than ours. We know this because their suns are older than our sun. Wouldn't that indicate that other intelligent species elsewhere in the universe have had even enough time to evolve and develop the technology needed to communicate with us? One possible answer to the question is that they have been communicating with us, but the government has been keeping such communication secret. Another possibility is that we're all by our lonesome because we're actually in a simulation that doesn't include simulated lives on other planets. Yeah, no, thank you, media. See, yeah, exactly, Terry. And Vegas Ghost Girl said she went through the same thing. Yeah, that's how I am. Very awkward and backwards. Like you guys hear me, like me stumbling with words and stuff like that. It's not that I'm a perfectionist or anything like that, but I, because I've been mentally abused, so anything I say, I feel like I've always felt like it could be used against me. So if I fuck up a word, it's almost like, oh, she fucked up that word. Let me, do damage to her. And now I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? Really, Ron, that's wild. See, stuff like that. When you speak, you that lately I'm kicked off. Yeah, that's so weird. D-Lab's buffering. And it sucks because I'm stuck here. I can't do anything about that. I don't know why it'd be buffering. Is YouTube buffering, Terry or Vegas? But yeah, no? Okay. But yeah, just I don't know what the heck. Ron, don't mess with me. You're on both. Hey, PMDB, how you doing, hon? Thanks for coming in. Welcome, welcome. Ron's trying to mess with me. I see you're on both. You can see in the chat that you're yellow and then red. Good try. But yeah, um so it could be that we're in a simulation. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, oh yeah, so you can see chat, I'm sure pretty well. But yeah, what a interesting, So then I do have this other article, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's kind of long or just, but it's talking about, which is really cool. And I'll put it in so you guys can read about it, of why we would make a matrix, or why would we, you know, what the possibilities are of um how we would go about building a matrix, or the three possibilities of why, the simulation argument, which is a really good read, and then different simple arguments back and forth. Which, if you want to, check it out, please feel free. Um, and it does pretty cool. It shows like the movie script of the Matrix, like the Oracle. Look, see those birds? At some point, a program was written to govern them. A program was written to watch over the trees and the wind, the sunrise and sunset. There are programs running all over the place. The ones doing their jobs, doing what they were meant to do, are invisible. You never even know that they were there. But the other ones, well, we hear about them all the time. I've never heard of them, said Neo. The Oracle, of course you have. Every time you've heard someone say they saw a ghost or an angel, every story you've ever heard about vampires, werewolves, or aliens is a system assimilating some programs that's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So, I mean, it's a really good read. It kind of puts it in perspective of how it came to be and why it came to be and different ways to look at it. Talking about matrices repeated and stacked. That's why we see what we see that's weird. Somebody reported a werewolf. Well, that had to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? Was it a program that malfunctioned? Or, I don't know. It's just a lot to think about. So there's the, link for you guys if you want to check it out. I was going to read it, but it's like, whew. Oh, really, Terry? See, I love The Matrix. My husband, that's my husband's favorite movie. I bought him the trilogy, and I can't wait for the other one to come out. The fourth one to come out. I can't wait. That looks so good. I saw the trailer. I'm excited about it. But yeah, it's hard to, like, nobody, Terry, really got the concept when it first came out. Do you know what I mean? Um you have to watch it a couple times to figure out really what it's about and stuff like that. It's nothing like wrong with it. It's just our brains can only perceive so much. So if you're not, it's weird. It's weird how to, kind of like how we look at the world a different way when you're opened and awakened, and you know what I mean? Like, think about back in the day before you're open and awakened, and what you looked at. You kind of just like went through life like da 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 da. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same way. Yeah, it's the little hints and everything like that in there. Is that what we're living in? I mean, our world might not look like that, but it may. I don't know. But I mean, if you really want to go through, there's a lot of things in the Matrix that, with conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, just certain things in there that, you know, they did a really good job with that movie. Let's put it that way. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys, I mean, are you guys anywhere like, are you like, we could be in a Matrix? Because that's where I am. I mean, yeah, a lot of hidden stuff. Thank you, Ron. I know. I haven't, every time we watch it, we get like bombarded. Now, the whole thing is with John Wick, they're saying that John Wick is Neo in real life, in our reality. So it's like and we've only seen the first John Wick movie. We haven't seen the second or third yet. But people are saying just there's different things in the movie. All right, Terry, hurry back. There's different things in the John Wick movie that, like at one part he says, "What do you need?" And John Wick's like, "Guns, lots of guns." Well, that's playing homage to Neo because that's what he says in the Matrix. But there's also like different things where the fight scene, if you notice, like people aren't moving around. They're not walking or anything. There's a fight scene in the third one, I think it is, where there's people around and they're in New York City and there's people around but they're not moving while they're fighting. And so people are like, this is Neo, but in the real world, in our reality. Oh, really? Now that's an interesting point to look at, Michael. So, okay, The Matrix, I believe, is my mother's tricks. That's an interesting way to look at it. Born Identity, yeah. Yeah, we all know that they're out there. Well, I don't know. I've never met, Jason Bourne or anything. Born Identity, that's one of my favorite movies. I love all the Jason Bourne movies. And you guys are probably sitting there going, of course you would. So definitely, yeah, me too, Vegas. I absolutely love Jason Bourne. There's only a couple movies that I can watch over and over and over again, and those are definitely one of them. Um, what was I gonna say? Totally forgot what I was gonna say. See, you had to mention Jason Bourne. But yeah, so interesting topic. Definitely interesting. We'll have to go through that and look at more of that, you know. But yeah. See, and the Matrix, now that I think about it, I'm going through and I'm thinking about the Matrix and then I'm thinking about the grid that wow. See, my mind is I must have been your mind's in the gutter. Ooh. Um Thoth. Oh my god, I couldn't remember. Wow. That was like a brain, like the grid that Thoth built around the earth, so supposedly, to protect us. Was that like some form of matrix? Right, yeah, binary grids. Exactly. Exactly, Ghost Girls. Yeah. Wow, I could see his face, but I kept wanting to say Anubis. Actually, what I kept wanting to say was Horus, but it's Thoth. But, or Tho, or whatever you want to call him. um, was that a part of the Matrix? Did he like do that to protect us and put us, just so many questions. So many questions. One theory, like they said with the Anunnaki, the Anunnaki scare me. The Emerald Tablets, exactly, Ron. Exactly. Did that form some sort of like, are we stuck here because of that grid? You know what I mean? It's so, I don't know. It's new because apparently, like, the grid is wearing down anyway because of the fact that the people are messing with the pyramids. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can think about that. Well, there's a lot of things that I think about that I'm telling you, I make my own rabbit holes. I don't jump down to anybody else's. Well, I do, but I end up making my own rabbit hole. I mean, that's how my brain works. Like, I'm sitting there thinking about one thing. Eddie always say, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I'm just, and my mind's just going like from this way to that way. How is that connected? And if I'm thinking this way, how would this fit into the equation? Why would I feel this way? I sit there and I can drive myself crazy. you know, like I want to take everything that everybody's ever written about certain things, even the Bible, and say, okay, could the people that wrote the Bible perceived it this way, while others who wrote about the ancestors perceived it this way, how would it fit into one thing? I'm telling you. Welcome back, Terry. Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, the word Anunnaki scares the crap out of me. It's not even the people, that word. And I want to like delve into why does that freak me out so much? You know what I mean? I mean, it could be because they were supposed to be, um, we were supposed to be slaves to them looking for gold and stuff like that, resources. And but like I never knew about the Anunnaki until, well, years ago now, but even from the first mention of them scared me more so than reptilians. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, why did that strike me funny? Did it? And I'm very in tune with my body. That's how like my process of thinking is. Like if something scared me, there's a reason why it scared me, if that makes sense. Exactly, Vegas. Exactly. That's how I feel about it too. Because in the afterlife, at least my experience with the afterlife and when I astral traveled, um, that's what I felt, all love, but I was all knowing too. And I think that's why we were sent here or um made here, whatever, that was to feel other emotions and have experiences because to be all loving and all knowing all the time is boring. That's just my take on it. That's very cool, Vegas. Me too. Me too. Because I want to feel that's how, like I said, that's how emotion is how I feel things resonate with me. Others could be different ways. I don't know. But with me, it's like if it feels right, or if it feels maybe not all the way right, but something in there feels right in a statement or something like that. I watch for that. I watch how my body reacts, how I feel. And for some reason, like I said, the Anunnaki just, even now, it just makes me want to cringe. And I have no reason to. Why would I have any reason to cringe hearing that word? Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. And that's the thing. I try not to be fearful of anything, you know? And I'm not as fearful as most people are about certain things. Yeah, I always go by my feelings and my intuition. I try, at least. Hey, Vegas Ghost Girls, like I said, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. Um, eh, like I said before, at one point, my ex husband, he's a Christian. I am a witch. My oldest daughter is, I almost said Antichrist. Well, no, she's, anarchist. And my son, he really don't have a religion, and my youngest don't either. We never push our religions onto the kids. It's whatever they want to try out and do. I give them little things like when my son was on here, he'll tell you that, like I taught him how to cut clouds and candle magic. And see, I used to be do Wiccan. Um, well, I can't say that I didn't used to do Wiccan because I am a witch. That's what I am. But Wiccan to me is, I don't like religious aspects of things. For some reason, I'm not in a religious. I love reading about religion and why they thought different things the way they did, if that makes sense. But when it comes to naming a religion for me, I don't like that. If that makes sense. I don't know why it's like that. I'm just like that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Terry, I totally agree with you. And I think that's why I look at religion the way I do, because of that. I have issues with doctrines that preach love and then order the death of outsiders and who are different. Exactly. And I think that's a big freaking part. Yes. I love nature too. That's exactly it. Yeah, Vegas, me either. I don't believe secular religions. Yeah, I'm the same way. Now, I mean, if somebody is in that religious belief, I respect their beliefs. Definitely. I will always, you know, respect people's beliefs. Always. Um, and I believe that, hi, testimony. How are you? Thanks for coming in. I do, and I understand that people are raised that way and not know other ways. You know what I mean? I respect all that. I get that. I just have I like thinking for myself. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Castle Buddha. That's cool, Terry. That's really cool. Yeah. Well, my main thing is, like I say, I'm an eclectic solitary witch. I take, like I said, I use little things that resonate with me and how it makes me feel. I will try to answer it. Testimony. I will try. Kind of like why, yeah, that's kind of like why I look at, like, Bigfoot the way I do. Some people don't believe in Bigfoot, but I believe he's more of a nature protector, if that makes sense. And then it makes me go off and look at other cryptids and see how they're, how they developed, and you know, self is actual the works of witchcraft. What do you mean self? Do you think our human form is the act of witchcraft? Or I mean I probably took that. It's so hard to um articulate you know what the meaning behind it. Oh, a person who is self-proclaimed. Um, I don't think that. I don't think that. I think all beliefs come from somewhere. That's just me. Like, I wouldn't diss your belief because I believe that you strongly believe in that. Or I wouldn't, you know, diss Terry's belief or Ron's belief or anybody's belief. Right. You were taught to be you. I wasn't, honestly, to be honest, when I was younger, I like wasn't brought up in a religious atmosphere, but I even young at a young age, I went to different like part of my, you know how it is when part of your family is like Christian and what part of your family is like, growing up, I guess you could say we were Episcopalian. That's what our family was associated with. But yet I went to a Christian Bible school, but my mom like never made me. They're like, oh, it'll be fun, you know. and and my sister-in-law, because my brother, right, right. I'm not a religious person either, or thinking person. I don't like organized religion. See, exactly, Ron. I never had that experience of being told be like everyone else. Like, I mean, my when I was 16, or no, I was 14. You know, my aunt wanted was telling me stories about Ouija boards. You know what I mean? And I was fascinated with them, and I always have been and always will be. And so, like, the mentioning of anything like paranormal or anything like that, my aunt was like right there. She bought me my first Ouija board. So I like different. Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I get your point. I definitely get your point. Um, it's your upbringing. Exactly. That's why I don't hold anybody. I not. I was gonna say accountable, but that ain't it. Um, I don't take away from anybody's beliefs. I believe we make up our own world. That's why another thing that I mean to bring up is my theory on things when we pass on. If you believe in heaven, you'll go to heaven. If you believe that you're going over a bridge, you're going to go over a bridge. You know what I mean? I mean, I when in my near death experience, I didn't get that far. I got my sister yelling at me to come back home, but um, well, that's what you know. And that was one of my things too. testimony when people used to bash me for um being involved in witchcraft. I'd be like, "Yeah, did you blow out a candle for your birthday at all? No matter how old you are?" Well, guess what? You were just doing candle magic. Do you know what I mean? That freaked people out. I've never been a conformist. Yeah, I enjoyed the person I was made to be. Exactly. A spiritual person would. Well, that was weird. Michael, your statement came up right by right after Vegas Girl, so I was like, I consider myself a spiritual person. And then I read Rice Experiment and I'm like, "What?" All great points though, really, seriously. Yeah, and it's just little things like that, Michael, that do change your theories on things and beliefs. Definitely. God is spirit, not self. See, I'm trying to understand, like, because I'm like on that way of Michael's theory. Wow, Michael's theory too. See, I think we all are the creator. We're all connected to one. So that's where I'm having a not a hard time, but just I don't want to say anything to offend you. I don't want to say anything to offend anybody. You know what I mean? I like discussing this. But I believe we are all the creator. We're all connected. Right, Terry. That's so true. That's oh, sorry guys. I didn't mean to hit the mic. It doesn't matter if you have thick skin or not. I mean, I used to have very thin skin. Now I have thick skin, but I don't want to offend anybody because I honestly believe is what everybody believes is what they believe. And and I love having discussions like this because I love picking brains. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't argue with anybody's religion because of the fact that I believe that I'm not here to change anybody's perspective on anything. Yeah, I can't say that I've read the whole Bible as an adult in an adult mindset. No, I can't say that I have. I think because of the fact oh really? Is Albert scared of it? Is that why? Um yeah, I haven't read the Bible as an adult mindset just because I think like my husband used to be a Bible study teacher. My ex-husband knows the Bible in and out. So when I have questions about things, I ask them. Do you know what I mean? So I really haven't sat down. Oh, I'm sure I would take it as a different perspective than what a child. I mean, don't get me wrong, my favorite book still today is Through the Golden Window, which is children's Bible stories, and I absolutely still love that book. So, I mean, I definitely I agree that my perspective probably would change through it. Hey, unicorn girl. Really? Yeah, I believe that. Unicorn girl, that's really cool. God, you got me thinking now. First of all, do you know what book I'm talking about? The Through the Golden Window with what the hell was the girl's name? His name was Max. I'm going way back now. Max and something. I could see the images. But in that, I'm talking about in that. And that only did, it didn't, it wasn't like the whole Bible. It was like, it put in the Bible story perspective to what how a kid would perceive it. Because see, things with me, you got to dumb down. The Bible, Vegas girl, you read it at least 6 times cover to cover? Honestly, my favorite part of the Bible is the whole creation part of it. What is that, Genesis? See, having an experience like that, Unicorn Girl, that would be scary. I've never had that happen to me. I've never had an experience like that. I've never had a bad experience with. Yeah, that's what I thought. Genesis. That's my whole favorite. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest. I haven't, Terry, but I will. Terry has some awesome live streams. Yes, I get that testimony. I get that. See, now I have another person I can ask Vegas when I have, my husband's favorite thing is how many people walked on water. He'd be like, two. Oh God, that scared me. And Freaky Geek wasn't here to see me jump. Thank you, Unicorn Girl, for the unicorn. Or for the unicorn. Wow, see? I'm not going on my second hour, you can tell. Thank you for the ice cream, Unicorn Girl. That's okay. It always scares me. That's the joke, is because I said D Live's gonna kill me because I'm gonna have a heart attack at one of these times. Um, but I don't have any questions right now about the Bible. But I do, don't hate me for this, okay? But oh God, I really hate saying this. I love the documentary with Bill Maher. I mean, I might not go about the same way of asking how like, rude. I mean, in some aspects, he was a little rude on things. Um, but I like the aspects of hearing from the different religious backgrounds on how they answered that, if that makes sense. I haven't seen that series, Vegas, called Messiah. I heard somebody, who the hell brought that up? Somebody brought that up. I can't remember. Somebody brought that up. Can I ask you something though, testimony? How do you know that you're reading it for its truth? If that if that makes sense. And I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. Please don't think that, please never think that about me. Um Yeah, I can't remember who else brought the Messiah up in Netflix. I cannot, for the life of me, remember that. No, I like you to have bold statements, though. I like people to, I mean, this isn't a debate. This is adults talking about religion, right? I don't like, having debates or trying to change somebody's outlook on things. As long as you're not doing that and trying to, explain what you feel, that's cool to me. That's really cool. And I hope everybody else feels the same way. Right. Yes, Terry, I agree. I agree. Oh, okay, Vegas. Yeah, I mean, think about it. It was given to the speech reminded me. Okay, I gotcha. See, my whole point is that whatever you believe in, let me look at the camera instead of like whatever you believe in, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in both, whether you believe in, you know, whatever, that's going to be truth in your world, in your life, because that's what you believe. You manifest that into your world. Um, where if some, I mean, like I look at things like when it comes to the Bible, I look at things like Jesus. Yes, he was the son of God, but we all are. You know what I mean? Jesus just do I think Jesus is real? Yes, and I think he was a very awesome guy. I think he was a beautiful, loving person, right? But do I think he was conceived, you know, the way he was conceived? No. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. And see, that's where we are all God ourselves then. You know what I mean? I think that's why, like I said, when you pass on, that's why if you believe in heaven, you go to heaven. Or if you believe in hell and you think you're going to hell, you're going to go to hell. If you think you're going to get stuck, you're going to be stuck in purgatory. I mean, it's what you believe in. We create ourselves, we create our own worlds. Yep. See, I don't believe in the same God you do, though. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with what you believe in. See, in my take on that with Jesus is both, then we all are both. I don't, my belief is that I think Jesus was an awesome person. I'm not going to deny that. And I think he looked at the world a very different way than most people did back then. And that's why he was written about. But I don't think that, and this is just my take on it, of what I've studied and what I've read and just how I feel about things. And I don't believe Jesus was made in immaculate conception. I just think he looked at things in a different way. And not everybody was looking at things like that in a different way. Okay, Vegas, take care, hon. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. So with Jesus being the Son of Man or the Son of God, we all are in a way. I just that's nothing's gonna, Right, Ron, he was a teacher. No, I've never seen that either, Terry. I don't know about that testimony because you don't know his life all the way up to his 30s. I mean, 30s is when we really start waking up and going, hey, we got to mature now. You know what I mean? You don't know that. You don't know everybody's got skeletons in their closet. I can't sit there. I can't say he didn't sin because I don't know him. I didn't hang out with him. Do you know what I'm saying? And he might not have. He might not have sinned, but I wasn't there to physically see him not sinning. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I think Jesus loves us all. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in this world that try to correct people, and they've sinned. A lot. It, you know what? The thing is, it's a book to me, okay? That's all there is to me. It's a book to me. Unfortunately, well, I don't say it unfortunately because fortunately, it's the way. But the book, it's a book. It's got parts that was written by Shakespeare in it. Do I look down on your theory of things? No, I don't. Exactly, Terry. That's exactly, yeah. No, yeah, no offense to anybody. No offense to anybody whatsoever. Okay, I will. I promise you, I will. I will read that. I will definitely read that. I promise you. This has been a great show, though, guys. I thank you all for coming in. I truly mean that. I love talking with you guys about this. I really do. You guys have all been awesome. You really have. I'm running late, obviously. I'm 10 minutes over my whole thing, yeah? But I thank you all for coming in. And so tomorrow, of course, we have fun and game day. It's game day. It's game day. Thursdays is our game day. I'm not going to preach to somebody over air. Right, Terry? Not to mention, this stream wasn't about this. This was all about the Matrix. But anyway, I've enjoyed discussion. Um, Remember, guys, late at night, every night, I am on D Live, Twitch, and Mixer, sharing the ghost cams with music going on. Um, you know, again, if you guys have a paranormal cryptid or UFO uh, story that you'd like to share and want to be anonymous about it, you could always email me. Emails down in the description. Right, Michael. That's I believe that. Jesus isn't the oracle. Um, yeah, always watch out for unscheduled lives. Now that we you know, have all the time in the world on our hands. Always watch for unscheduled lives because I might go live and play some games or um, you know, just come on to have a discussion about something I read and you know, you never know. I could pop on any time. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. I'm thankful for all you guys so much. You guys are just awesome. And I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun discussing different things, definitely. Okay, cool, Ron. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, so guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. All right, tomorrow's game day, and then we got Freaky News Friday. All right, guys, have a great day and be safe. Take care. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let me run my credits, maybe. Now they're not going to run because, you know, how dare I think something's going to work. There they go. All right, guys, I appreciate every one of you for coming in, discussing with me different things. I love it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Be safe.